Hello again, art friends, and welcome back to day 5 of our salute to construction and to the art of building and making things that way. You notice I'm dressed a little bit differently today because we're not going to be working with wood today. We're not building blanket forts and not building with blocks. Today, we're going to be talking about the art of welding. So today, my lovely assistant and I, come on, lovely assistant, this is my older daughter, Chloe. She's a senior at Orange High School, and Chloe's going to be doing most of the welding because one of her classes at Orange High School in the agriculture department is, excuse me, largely in welding, and she's going to do a lot of the welding today. We're going to be making a cow. We're going to be making a cow out of horseshoes. So we're going to talk a lot about welding today. I don't necessarily expect you to be able to follow along with this one because not everybody does have a welder. But if you do, and if you have an adult, let me say it again. If you have an adult, let me say it one more time. If you have an adult that can help you weld, please, by all means, make something in your garage out of metal and let me see it. Show it to me, send me an email, send me a video. I want to see what it is that you are making with welding. All right, so the first thing I've got to tell you about welding and stuff is you'll notice I'm wearing different safety gear. Not wearing my safety glasses right now because when we go to welding, well, let me tell you what welding is first. Welding is essentially using electricity to heat up metal, and we're going to heat those two pieces of metal to where they fuse together. We're going to kind of melt them together or weld them together. So we're going to do that, and that is very, very super ridiculously bright, which is why one of the reasons why you have to have an adult. We're going to be wearing a welding helmet today, and this welding helmet is so dark that it's hard to see through when you don't have that bright welding arc, but it makes your eyes safe when you do. So you always have to wear your welding helmet. I am wearing today long sleeves and a long sleeve cotton shirt because this shirt it's not flammable. Welding does throw off really hot metal sparks and is a little bit flammable. I'm also going to be wearing really thick, super thick gloves today because it gets really hot if you're holding that metal that's doing it. So we are going to start the process, show you a little bit about it, put a lot of it in fast speed because I just want to expose you to how metal can be made and welding can be used as an art form. I've done a lot of pieces in metal that I'm going to show you a little bit later on the video. A lot of people make metal art every day, and that's what I want you to see right now. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do before we can start welding, we've got to have nice clean surfaces to weld to. And you can see we're going to be using used horseshoes because we have a lot of those around here. And we're going to use these used horseshoes, but you've got to have a nice clean surface. These are all rusty, muddy, and dirty. So Chloe is going to be using a tool called the grinder. And you can see she is wearing her safety glasses right now because the grinder is going to throw off some sparks. She's got gloves and long sleeves, boots on. And she is going to be making, getting rid of the rust, grinding these horseshoes down to where we have a nice clean surface so the welder will be able to do its job. So as you can see from that little bit, really getting the rust off of these is going to take a very long time. We're going to have to, you know, do as a combination of using our wire brush and grinding. So I've gone out and I've gotten my other grinder, and I'm going to get safety geared up, and I'm going to help Chloe, and we're both going to grind all these down to be ready to do what we're going to do. So you can see that, you know, after a while of that, I found the most important tool in the garage, which is the empty buckets that I can sit down on. And we have gotten most of the dirt and rust and grubbiness off of the horseshoes that we're going to use. Really simple thing for you to do if you're going to be doing welding is start with clean metal. It makes it a whole lot easier. It's not always the best. You can buy new horseshoes that haven't been used and on a horse. A whole lot easier to get these, and we had them for free. So that's what we're doing. So next step is we are going to get out the actual welder. And this is one of the welders that you could use. There's a lot of different kinds of welders. I don't know if you know that or not. But all of the welders have a little clamp, which is a ground clamp. You've got to connect that to the clean metal so the electricity can flow through. And then you have the tip, or some of them have a stick, just a holder with a stick, and you can weld that. And what happens is, if you, and I'm not actually, this isn't plugged in and on, I'm just showing, because I'm not wearing my welding helmet and it's not going to get bright. What you do is you clamp your metal to the grounding rod, or grounding clamp, and you take this and you'll squeeze, and this little wire, and this wire welder, comes out, and it makes the electricity goes between here and all the way through here, and it heats this up a lot, and it heats that to where you can weld it to other pieces of metal. Okay, so we're going to lay out our metal down here on the ground. I'm going to plug this in. Chloe's going to put her welding helmet on, and I'm going to get a really a welding face shield behind the camera even, because it's going to get really bright. This is one of those things you have to remember. Must have an adult, and use all the proper safety equipment. Okay, so let's set up for that. All right, so Chloe's got the basic shape of what she wants to make here set out, and she's getting ready to go ahead and attach her ground rod. So just clamp those, or stick it, just touch it, hold it to one of the horseshoes and get it to touch. She's got her welding helmet on, getting ready to put that down so she can see. I'm behind the camera, and I've got my welding shield as well, because this is going to get super bright. And now she's just going to get ready to put that on there. So push the horseshoe up against the other ones to where your electricity is going to all go through. And now she can go ahead and start to weld. And you're going to see what that looks like. There you go. So Chloe's doing a little bit of pop weld. These are called tack welds is what she's doing. Because you don't need a whole lot just to get them to stay. And then she'll go back and make a little bit more of a bead, which is what they call it later. Just kind of getting them in place. Should be able to go and do that on some of the other horseshoes. Now that those two are connected, it'll let the electricity flow to the next one. So getting those nicely connected. So we're going to go ahead and speed you up. Okay, so we've gotten the basic structure of the sculpture is all kind of tacked together and welded pretty solid. Now those welds are super hot, so we're working really hard not to touch those right now. But we do have a few more pieces that are gonna get tacked on, these little bitty pieces right here. So what we're gonna do next is grab those and tack them in place. So now the basic structure is all together. Is what we're going to do is there are a few more detail pieces that Chloe's going to go ahead and place in there. And these are going to need to be tacked in as well, and she's going to do that in just a second. While she's welding this time, I'm going to do this in real time for a little bit, and I'm going to kind of hold one of the welding shades over top of the camera lens so you can see kind of what it looks like from inside that welding helmet and how much darker that is. And I'm not going to be looking at it. I'm only going to be looking through the camera and through the welding helmet. So we'll do that next. You ready to weld there, Chloe? So let's go ahead and weld the eyes on. You're gonna have to hold that with your finger. Great. Okay, so you see how bright that is when she's just welding. Yep, get the good tack on it. Now watch what happens when the welding shade is in front of the camera lens. See how you can see it, but you can't see right there when she's not welding. But when she kicks that arc in, it gets super bright and it lets you be able to see even through that super dark welding lens. Okay, so, all right, so that should be just about it. We can unclamp from the welder. I'm still wearing my gloves because this is very warm. But what you can see is Chloe has designed and made a cow out of horseshoes. That's kind of crazy and ridiculous. But it looks cool. It'll look even cooler after we go ahead and get our wire brush, kind of get some of this rust and some of these things where it's heated up from the welding process. Get some of that off, get a little bit of paint on this. Get a little paint on this. And there it is. Hopefully we'll get to show you again with a little bit of paint. Back on me, please. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about welding today. I taught you about that much out of a whole lot that there is to know about welding. But find an adult. Some of your parents, your grandparents may be a welder. They may have a welder in the garage. They may know how to do this and you don't know they know how to do this. So make sure you go talk to them about welding and how that can be used to make an art project. And thank you for joining us again for day 5 and the last day of our salute to craftsmanship, woodworking, construction, and those building arts. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks, and I'll see you again next week with some new...